everyone, welcome back to Recall Zoology with me, G. Trupti. So today we are going to take a new topic, that is Human Genome Project. Okay, let's start with that. Before that, see, DNA is our genetic material. We know the two siblings of a parent also, or whatever, two kids of one parent also, you could say, they are not exactly same with each other. You and your brother or sister, you are not exact copies of each other. Definitely you will be resembling with them, you will be resembling with your both the parents, but you are different from your parents as well as your siblings. You are having differences in your external features, you are having the differences in your IQ, intelligence quotient, emotional quotient. Number of things are variable in both of you when you are siblings also. So why such variations come? Only the monozygotic twins are similar to each other, but no one other than them are exact copies of each other. So these differences definitely will be coming due to a little difference in our genetic material. So there is need to understand what is our genetic material, what is there in the DNA, and number of genetic disorders are there. So unless and until we study the genetic material totally, we can't get the answers of number of questions. So definitely a Human Genome Project was started, already finished also long back. So let's start. What is that? What was that in that particular Human Genome Project? Okay, see here. So Human Genome Project, it was the mega project because it took long duration of time for its completion, and definitely cost was also more. So Human Genome Project was a mega project. Its target was to sequence all the base pairs which are present in our genetic material. All the base pairs, approximately 3 billion base pairs which are present in our genetic material. The time around 1990 when this project got started, the cost for one base pair was around $3 per base pair. So the total cost of this particular counting of these 3 billions of base pair was 9 billions. This project was started by US Department of Energy and the National Institute of Health. Apart from this, the major partner was the Wellcome Trust of United Kingdom and other countries like Japan, Germany, then China and France, and some other countries were also the partners in this particular mega project. Actually in 1990 this project got launched, expecting that this project will get over in the next 13 years. Means definitely when any type of big project gets start, before that only we plan that how to till when this project we should complete, in what time duration, what are the targets we have to achieve. So in that way, definitely for this mega project also the target was fixed and it was of 13 years. So definitely up to 2003, the maximum everything was done with respect to the Human Genome Project, whatever we are expecting. But only due to one gene, you could say, that is chromosome number 1. Here I have written only whatever chromosome number 1 is there. It was like you could say its sequencing was done last. Chromosome number 1, its sequencing was done last. And so that it took some more time. So time duration got extended up to 2006 and it got finished successfully, I could say completely, in 2006. What are the goals? What are the silent features of this Human Genome Project? We are going to check now. So the goals of Human Genome Project written here. See here. The goals are, the main goal is to sequence the entire genome, which is having 3 billions of base pairs, to get physical map of genome, to identify all the thousands number of genetic materials which are present over the DNA, and another thing, whatever information we are collecting, to store it perfectly, that information to get stored in the database, and to improve the tools for data analysis, techniques to improve the data analysis, and number of issues were there you could say ELS issues in the sense ethical, legal and the social issues related with Human Genome Project. To address all these issues, these are also considered under the goal of the Human Genome Project. One more thing I have written here, like to store this information means whatever 3 billions of base pairs are there, their information definitely after collecting we have to store it somewhere. If we store it like in the books and all, it is estimated that we need around 3,300 books, each book with thousands of pages, and on each page we have to write 1,000 letters. Then only it is possible to store the information what we are getting. The time around 1990 when this project got started, there were no any softwares to store the information properly. But as a need, definitely during that time only a new branch of science got developed and which definitely made the work easy, that was bioinformatics. Okay, now two methodologies are there, two approaches are there for the Human Genome Project. We know our DNA is having two different regions, two different parts. One is coding part and actually another is a non-coding part. In general, we know coding part in the sense it is helping in the coding of some proteins, and non-coding is not taking such any role. So first approach is simply to do the sequencing of only the coding part. You could say that approach in which only sequencing of coding part is done, you could call it as expressed sequence stats. Expressed sequence stats means which is coding part. Another approach was there, that is blind approach you could call it as, in which simply blindly we will be sequencing entire DNA. You could call it as sequence annotation also. Both the approaches were there, and finally decision was made to follow the blind approach only. The blind approach is one in which simply we will take the sequence of entire DNA, either it is coding or non-coding, means both coding and non-coding part we will be doing sequencing. So we will see what are the steps followed here during this sequencing process. So the first step was isolation of the double-stranded DNA. After isolation of the double-stranded DNA, it is needed to cut it into number of units, number of pieces. Means you could call it as fragments of DNA fragments by a special enzyme known as endonuclease. Because we know DNA is a polymer and sequencing the entire big polymer is difficult, so that by using endonuclease enzyme, making its fragment is a damn necessary step here. After that, whatever fragments are there, these fragments are transferred in different host cells for the replication. You could say those host cells, either bacteria is used or yeast is used. Yeast is used for this particular purpose. And how this particular DNA fragments are transferred into the bacterial host or the yeast host, that is by using the different cloning vectors. You could call them as either bacterial artificial chromosome or the yeast artificial chromosome. By using the appropriate cloning vectors, either BAC or YAC, it is whatever the DNA fragments are there, they are transferred inside the host cell. In the host cells, you could say the fragments got replicated, and then whatever the fragments we got, we have like in the Human Genome Project, they were sequenced by the automated DNA sequencers. These DNA sequencers who they work on the principles developed by scientist Sanger, Frederick Sanger. After that, whatever these fragments are there, you could say they have given annotation, they are aligned on the DNA with their functions. Scientist Frederick Sanger, he also developed a method for the determining amino acid sequence in the proteins. So after completion of the Human Genome Project, what are the features, silent features concluded? Here we are going to check them. So the silent features of Human Genome Project are: human genome contains around 3.1 billions of the nucleotide base pairs. Means you could say 3,000 164.7 million nucleotide base pairs. And one more thing, for all the human beings, around 99.9% of the nucleotide base pairs are same. For all the people, you could say 99.9% of the whatever nucleotide base pairs are there, they're same. 0. Whatever that little 0.1% is there, it is only making the difference in all of us. Okay. Now, whatever total genome we have sequenced, in that we understood that less than 2% of genome is the coding part, is coding for the protein, less than 2%. Okay. Then what about the leftover? So whatever leftover part is there, it is non-coding part and it is having number of repeated sequences also. Okay, we will check it later. Okay. So the total number of genes estimated are in the Human Genome Project are 30,000. 30,000 genes are estimated. Okay. So previous our expectation was there are 80,000 to 1,40,000 genes. But finally we got this is the number 30,000 of genes in our genetic material. Whatever average genes are there, average overall, a gene composed of how many base pairs? So you could say gene composed of around 3,000 bases. Okay, a number could vary. Okay, so here they have given the largest human gene. Largest human gene I am talking. Largest human gene is the gene that codes for the dystrophin protein. How many bases are there? As I told you, on an average, a gene have 3,000 bases, but the largest gene, dystrophin, is having 2.4 millions of the bases. Okay, the chromosomes, like whatever we are having, total number of chromosomes, 23 pairs of chromosomes we have. Okay, in that chromosome number 1 is with maximum number of genes. So the total number of genes here is 2,968, while the Y chromosome is with the least number of genes, that is 231 genes only. Okay. Apart from that, we just now I told you less than 2% of the genome is coding for the protein and leftover is like non-coding part. Okay. What is there in that leftover part, you could say that our genome is having number of repetitive sequences and it is only making the larger part of our genetic material. Repetitive sequences in the sense a stretch of DNA will be coming again and again in the sense it could come for hundreds of times, it could repeat for thousands of times. It don't have any special function with respect to coding, but due to that we could understand the structure of chromosome. It will shed light on the dynamics and the evolution. Okay, whatever, again one more thing, whatever total genes we have discovered, whatever total number of genes are there which we have discovered, out of that 50%, you could say 50% of genes are such genes whose functions we don't know. We don't know their function. Whatever genes we have discovered, out of them 50% of genes are there with unknown function for us. Okay. Then the next thing we will discuss, that is SNPs. In our genome, at 1.4 million location, in our genome at 1.4 million locations, scientists have identified SNPs. What is SNPs? Single nucleotide polymorphism. Means in our total genome, at number of places, only the sequence will vary by a single base, you could say, single nucleotide base. See here the example of SNP here, you could say the first sequence is AAGCCTA. And if you check here the second, another whatever small stretch is there, AAGCTTA. So here only one nucleotide, only one, whatever a base pair is there, it is different. You could call it as single nucleotide polymorphism. In our entire genome, scientists have identified 1.4 million such places. And overall, as I told you, that maximum part is a non-coding part and it is having repetitive sequences of DNA. These are the silent features of Human Genome Project. So remember perfectly the largest gene, then the chromosome with maximum number of genes, chromosome with least number of genes, and what is the total number of genes we have estimated. Finally, we will check the applications of Human Genome Project. As I told you earlier, like the Human Genome Project's knowledge will be helping us definitely for getting the idea regarding number of genetic disorders. So here the applications are, it will help to diagnose, treat many disorders, especially genetic disorders. By the time when Human Genome Project was going on, genome of some non-human organism is also done. For example, yeast, bacteria, non-pathogenic nematodas, some plants like rice, and the Drosophila. Whatever the knowledge is there of non-human organism, we could apply this particular knowledge today for the human beings' welfare, for improvement in the agricultural techniques, and getting various types of products. Like today we are getting the insulin for the treatment of insulin-dependent diabetes from rDNA technology. Apart from that, for the energy production, we could use this knowledge. Then finally, in the ancient time, in the previous time, scientists used to study at a time very few genes. But today, due to the number of techniques whatever are developed during the Human Genome Project, we could study at a time number of genes in the genome. For example, all the transcripts in a particular tissue or organ or the tumor. So by this, spatially, we could get the correct idea regarding genetic disorder. I hope this video will be definitely helping you by the time when you prepare the Human Genome Project. Thank you everyone for supporting me and my channel. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel, and please write a comment in the comment box below. Thank you.